Namo Om Vishnu Bhattaya Krishna Bhashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Sanyavade Vashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Great, we have a crowd. Great, here comes Mama Jambavati. All right, welcome to Brihad Bhagavatamrta. Starting a bit late, but at least we're starting. Hare Krishna. I was thinking we might have to miss it, but no, some devotees have come. That's great. And I'll keep my eye out for others who may be coming in. Keep my eyes posted at the top of the screen. I can see. So we're on Brihad Bhagavatamrta, and you can see here I've shared the book and the context. Again, we're speaking about the details of Vaikuntha. And especially we're hearing about the devotees of Vaikuntha and their Ishtadev, or their worshipable deity. And we've been hearing some interesting facts. As the Lord appears, for example, in the form of a boar, then in the liberation where one has the same form of the Lord, then devotees also take the same form as Lord Vrahadev, for example, boars. Yeah, so very interesting. I hadn't heard that before. So we're hearing about more Vaikuntha and the different forms of the Lord. And that's where we pick it up from text 149 and 50. So it looks like Mother Mangal's on the move, so he definitely can't read. So perhaps Mother Gayatri or Mother Lavanga.
Yeah, I will read.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Text 149. As before, these devotees still see their unworshipable Lord with all his unique features they found charming, his same entourage and everything else. These devotees, each in his favorite mood, constantly hope to serve him. They are indeed the wisest of saints, for they have each attained the final perfection of their own faith. Commentary. Each Vaikunthavasi worships a form of the Lord as seen together with that Lord's unique entourage and paraphernalia. Lord Raghunath, for example, is accompanied by his brothers, headed by Lakshman and by the daughter of Janaka. He also has his bow, his kingdom Ayodhya, and his pastimes like being exiled to the forest. The devotees of Sri Raghunatha are especially attracted to these unique characteristics of the Lord. Those devotees and all the others in Vaikuntha are the best of saints because their faith in the Supreme Lord is unalloyed and unshakable. Text 151. Thus they worship their favorite forms of the Lord in the places where he resides, his opulent cities and other abodes, and expand the ocean of happiness. Commentary. The Vaikuntha kingdom has many confidential areas, including cities like Lord Ramachandra's Ayodhya. Devotees who, while living in the material world, worshipped the Supreme Lord as residing in some particular abode, go to a similar abode in Vaikuntha, where they continue to worship him with the entourage and paraphernalia that attracted them. The Almighty Personality of Godhead is present in Vaikuntha as Narayana, seated in his excellent palaces on the best of thrones, but to all his surrendered devotees, he displays whatever aspects of himself they love with special affection. We should never think that the Lord Narayan's display of multiple forms to various devotees is illusory. There is no influence of the illusory material energy in Vaikuntha, and the Lord is capable of doing whatever he wants. The special abodes like Ayodhya that are manifest within Vaikuntha are not separate worlds, but special displays of spiritual variety, arranged to expand unlimitedly the Lord's glories and the ecstasy of his devotees.
I hope we're getting a picture of Vaikuntha. that it's diverse in its presentation according to the specific bhakta and bhakti that they have for the Lord. Then he's going to manifest in that way. So all is accommodated, yeah, in an inconceivable place which is known as Vaikuntha, which is very different from the material world. Yeah. Go on,
Yeah.
continue.
Devotees not exclusively attracted to one form of the Lord, those whose affection is not focused on a single appearance of his, are ready to serve him in any form. Commentary. Some devotees are attracted to all of the Supreme Lord's appearances. Those devotees serve any one form of the Lord of Vaikuntha without any preference as to which. Other devotees are attracted to serving 2, 3, or several particular forms.
All right, so here's some more interesting details. So the same as we ourselves, isn't it? Some of us may be attracted to serving in a particular temple or a particular deity. For us, it's Londoneshwara. Here in Mayapur, they're serving Radha Madhav, Radha Gokulananda. Then other devotees may not have a specific attraction to one. They're equally attracted to any forms of the Lord. Yeah. So they serve as, but they basically serve the Lord, and they're not so concerned about what form that may be. Only that is their worshipful Lord. So here we see others devotees are attracted to serving 2, 3, or several particular forms. Just like it's quite interesting. Most temples you see, Vaishnava temples, then you're going to you're going to see one particular set of deities. Mostly, sometimes not, but in our temples, we generally have, most temples have Radha Krishna, Jagannath, and Gaunitai, 3 sets of deities. Devotees are devoted accordingly to each or all of these deities. So it seems like it's the same in Vaikuntha. Yeah. But the common factor is that the devotee has love. What was that? Before we came to words that describe pure devotion. Sure, we've heard them before. Where is that? Unalloyed. Here, I just pulled it up again. Unalloyed, which means there's nothing else. Like unalloyed still means there's no alloys in it. It's just the elements still. There is nothing else in it. Unalloyed. So unalloyed devotion. There is no fruitive. There's no shadow. There's no. What's the word? There's no shadow. There's no covering. It's just unalloyed, and therefore it's unshakable. So that's what they have in common. But the form the Lord they may worship differs, or who they're attracted to. So some may be attracted to 2, 3, or several particular forms. Right.
So
Okay.
I was just thinking, if devotees are attracted, if there is a devotee may be attracted to Lord Ram and Krishna, both at the same.
So where
Is
would
that
they
possible?
go? That's the question. Yeah, yeah, it is possible. And then I guess, as we heard before, but there will be one of them may well be prominent. Let's take the example of, we've often hear how those who are attracted to Krishna, then they go to Goloka at perfection. Those attracted to Lord Chaitanya, then they go to Svetadweep. And some have an equal attraction to both.
Yeah.
So therefore,
I'm reading Ramayana at the moment.
Okay.
And I'm really getting attracted to Lord Ram. And I think Krishna is going to win, but just when you get absorbed in reading about Lord Ram, you can't help it. You think, oh, Lord Ram is the greatest.
Yeah, I had that same. I don't know. It's a good problem. I had that same as well when I read the Ramayana. Yeah, so you're gonna have to see over the when we read about the Pacific pastimes, because it is our worshipful Lord, and appearing in a wonderful form, say of Lord Ram. But then you're going to have a Pacific attraction that is your kind of Stehi Bhav, not in the perfect sense, but over the years, like at the moment you're reading Ramayana, say for 2 months or 3 months, but then where is your attraction throughout throughout the rest of the time? It may be more prominent to Krishna. Well, you never know, it may become more prominent to Lord Ram. Yeah. So I guess we can conclude, I don't know, interesting kind of line of thought that someone maybe equally, I haven't seen this written, someone may be equally devoted to Krishna than they are to Ram. So perhaps one aspect of them goes to Ayodhya, and one aspect goes to Goloka. I've not read anything sastrically about that, but that's an interesting possibility. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlimited possibilities in the spiritual world. There is no restrictions. Yeah. All right. You like to read another verse?
Text 153, next page.
All right.
Yeah. Some devotees dedicated themselves to the 8-syllable mantra and some other mantra for the husband of Lakshmi. And when those devotees left their material bodies, they all obtained the shelter of this Vaikuntha. Commentary. Devotees of Narayana can realize his association by chanting his mantra of 5, 8, or 12 syllables. Sri Parasa Rishi states in the Vishnu Purana 1640, even the moon, sun, and other planets are created and destroyed again and again, but persons who have meditated on the 12-syllable mantra have never had to return even till the present day. Since all of Lord Narayana's mantras call upon his holy names, this 12-syllable mantra mentioned here refers indirectly to all the Lord's mantras, not just the mantra of 12 syllables, as effective means for achieving Vaikuntha. Devotees who worship the Lord perfectly with any of his mantras attain his shelter in the next life. And among the sheltered devotees, those who worship the Lord as the supreme controller reach him in Vaikuntha.
Right. Any questions about that? These mantras? Trying to figure out what is a 12-syllable mantra. I don't think it's because it's directed to Lord Narayan, so I don't think it's the Gopal mantra. Speculating, maybe I'm just counting the syllables. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. May well be that mantra, 12-syllable mantra. That's the mantra by which Dhruva had darshan of Lord Narayan. Yep. But nevertheless, all mantras call upon his holy name. The different mantras with different amount of syllables. See, the idea of these mantras is that they're confidential. So that's why often in scripture, it just says the name of the syllables of the mantra. So those who are in knowledge will actually know what that mantra is. Yeah, it may not. Some places it does. There is the whole mantra, but often not. So they just mention the 5-syllable mantra, the 8-syllable mantra, and then the guru will actually give that mantra. Yeah. So this is a mantra for achieving Vaikuntha. Yeah.
Also, there's Om Namo Narayanaya.
Yeah, it could be that. Yeah. Om Namo
That's
Narayana.
8, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And then Namaha.
Then the Maha mantra, which is our mantra, which is everyone's mantra, we say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every mantra has a particular mood or sadhya that goes with it. So those who are chanting Om Namo Narayanaya, then their sadhya is Vaikuntha. Yeah. So they will meditate upon that while they're chanting that mantra to obtain that goal. It's the same with the Maha mantra. We meditate ultimately on Krishna and Goloka in order to obtain the goal of that mantra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. You can continue reading.
Text 154. All the devotees in Vaikuntha enjoy the particular happiness for which they aspired and feel it greater than all others. This creates a hierarchy of tastes, but within it, a simultaneous equality. Commentary. Whatever happiness a devotee may have felt from worshipping the Supreme Lord in the material world expands
Oh, there you go.
without limit when he achieves entrance into Vaikuntha. In other words, even though all devotees in Vaikuntha share the same basic spiritual nature, they feel varieties of pleasure. Different devotees relish various qualities of ecstasy in their hearing, chanting, and worshipping, and the ecstasy of one devotee may be greater than that of another. Still, each devotee in Vaikuntha is satisfied with his own devotional service. Whatever his rasa, when it develops to full maturity, he fully tastes the ecstasy natural to it. This point has already been discussed, and later it will be made even more clear.
All right. Any questions about this? It's often a question that's brought up if someone is a cowherd boy. Okay, from an objective point of view, by studying the quality of ecstasy and the intimacy of loving devotion that's expressed, then it's concluded, for instance, in Chaitanya Damrita, that the highest is a gopi bhava. Yeah. The relationship of the gopis with Krishna and then ultimately Radharani. Yeah. So so the question sometimes may be thought is that if someone is in the mood of sakiras, will they not feel complete and desire that different rasa? But no, it's described here. They will feel the particular rasa that they're situated in, the particular state, bhav, say as a cowherd boy, it's full. There is no room for any grain of wants or dissatisfaction within that particular rasa. Yeah, it's full. Yeah. Although from an objective point of view, you see there's more intimacy in gopi. Yeah. In the gopi's love for Krishna. The same as Mother Yasoda, Vatsalya Ras. She is full with overwhelming feelings of protection for her darling little Krishna. Yeah. She is not thinking, or there's no sense of being, or no sense of lacking again. There is no room for it at these stages of perfection. Yeah. And each devotee as well, it's a natural setting in Goloka. So it's not as if although it's described here philosophically, it's not as if Mother Yasoda is they're speaking about the rasa that they are in compared to the rasa of the cowherd boys. No, they're just absorbed in their role. Mother Yasoda is absorbed in her role as mother, and also Nanda Maharaj, Sridham in their role of Krishna's friends. You know, it's very in one sense because it's a village setting. So they're all they're all situated in a particular relationship with Krishna. They're not discussing with each other about the different qualities of their rasa. Oh, for instance, where was it here? Yeah, they share the same thing. Yeah, so they feel varieties of pleasure. They're not analyzing each other's pleasure that they're feeling in relationship to Krishna. Although the gopis, there is discussions in Venu Gita where they see themselves as being lower than everyone else. Even the clouds are more advanced than the gopis, at least from their perspective. The clouds, the river, the deer, they see them, the deer and the river and the clouds and the bamboo as being more fortunate than themselves. That's a slight different context. But anyway, any questions on this? Yeah, it described here, whatever his rasa, when it develops to full maturity, he fully tastes the ecstasy natural to it. Yeah, so there's no hankering.
Can I ask something quick, Hare Krishna?
You can ask something quick. Yeah.
Is that because everyone is satisfied and they are not, doesn't matter what position they have, because
Yeah,
they
that's
are,
exactly.
the moment they are connected and they are serving everyone because of their body, let's say, they are satisfied.
Yeah, it's
they are
exactly
full
what.
satisfied because of their body.
Yeah, or their spiritual bodies. Yeah, that's
Spiritual
exactly what
body,
I'm
yes,
saying.
spiritual body.
Yeah, or the morphos, not they're fully satisfied with their particular relationship with Krishna. All right, but from an objective point of view, looking at it philosophically or sastrically, when the acharyas analyze the different rasas, okay, all right. So then the highest rasa then is Gopi Bhava, you know. Then there's Manjari Bhav, and there's different types of the Gopi, different types of rasas. Yeah, correct. Hare Krishna. Well done. Right, it's a bit rasa tattva here. So you like to read this verse as well? The next one?
Yeah.
57. Okay, quite a long verse.
Yeah. In the Lord's appearances on earth, he shows similar varieties and equality. The Lord's forms are the shelter and the treasure of the earth. Among them are Naranarayana and Dattatreya and Parashuram, the son of Jamadagni, and Kapila. There are those who playfully assume the appearance of deities, and those such as Vishnu and Yogeshvara, whom you have seen on Swargaloka and other higher planets. There are such various incarnations as Matsya, Kurma, Mahavaraha, Sriman Nrsimha, and Vamana. Each of these forms of the Lord has its own activities and names, yet all of them are full in eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Though manifesting variety in substance, they are eternally one. Commentary. Liberated devotees of the Supreme Lord can display varieties of personalities within the basic oneness of spiritual existence because they are empowered by the Lord, who shares with them his inconceivable ability to be simultaneously one and many. God is one, but he displays himself with infinite variety. He has his original form as Krishna in Goloka and his expansion as Narayana in Vaikuntha, plus innumerable other expansions in the spiritual and material worlds. Counted among the avatars he displays in the material realm, counted among the avatars he displays in the material realm are his deity forms. In different corners of the universe, he appears as innumerable deities, each with its own form and personality, like Sri Sankarshan in Ilarvata Varsa, Sri Jagannath in Purushottam Kshetra, and Sri Ranganath in Rangapuri, to mention just a few. In the heavenly planets, he appears in expansions such as Vamana, Vishnu, and Yogeshvara. Throughout the material worlds, he descends in many incarnations, some famous like Lord Matsya and Lord Kurma, others lesser known like Lord Hayagriva and Lord Hamsa. The activities, names, and forms of these avatars are manifold, but they are all one personality of Godhead, complete in unadulterated eternity, knowledge, and bliss, as stated in the Maha Samhita. There is no difference between any of the incarnations of the Lord, and no difference between his body and his soul. In truth, all the incarnations are all pervasive and infinitely subtle. Thus plays the Supreme Person Janardana, making use of his opulent powers.
Wow, there's more. Okay, let's just check. Okay, carry on.
At Badrik Ashram, Lord Narayana appears with his younger brother Nara as the son of Dharma and acts as a guru for the performance of austerities. In text 155, the word Adi, Kapiladaya, implies other incarnations, including Vyasadeva and Dhanvantari. And in text 156, the word Adi, Svarga Lokadishu, implies additional appearance places of the Lord on Maharloka, on Satyaloka, and in the universal coverings formed of earth and other elements. In text 156, the use of the word Adi, Vishnu Yakeshvaradaya, alludes to Lord Mahapurusa on Brahmaloka and to the forms of the Lord such as Varaha, worshipped in the coverings of the universe. Gopakumara has seen many of these forms of the Supreme Lord. The form of Sri Vamana, mentioned separately here, is different from the four-armed Lord Vishnu, who is the presiding deity on Swargaloka. As we learn from the Puranas, several incarnations of Lord Vishnu appear more than once, at different times and under different circumstances. It is known, for example, that Matsya, the greatest of fish, appeared once at the end of a cycle of yugas to save the Vedas during the devastating flood of the universe, and appeared once more during the partial flood of the lower part of the universe to show his mercy to Satyavrata Muni. There are also two Lord Kurmas. One held Mandara mountain on his back while nectar was being churned from the milk ocean, and the other always holds up the earth. Similarly, there are five. What was that? Similarly, there are at least five Lord Varahas. The first appeared from Brahma's nostril at the beginning of creation, lifted the earth, deposited her on the Garbha ocean, and then disappeared. The second saved the earth from a partial flood of devastation, killed Hiranyaksha, and went to Swargaloka. The third, the embodiment of Vedic sacrifice, taught the methods of sacrifice, lifted the earth, spoke to her the Varaha Purana, and disappeared by his mystic power. The fourth took the earth and made her even by grinding down the excessively large mountains with his sharp tusks. The earth then assumed the form of his consort Varahi, enjoyed with him, and gave birth to two sons. That Lord Varaha finally disappeared by merging into the form of Lord Nrsimha. And yet a fifth Varaha Dev perpetually holds up the earth from below. Lord Nrsimha also made several different appearances, as we know from such sources as the Brihad Sahasranama Sarotra. One Nrsimha defeated all the celestial mothers, another ripped apart Hiranyakashipu, and yet another assumed the form of an ordinary cat. There were also two appearances of Vamanadev to trick two different asuras, Dundu and Bali, and there were two appearances each of Lord Hayagriva and Lord Hamsa.
Okay. So there you go. There's Lord Nrsimhadev appears as a cat.
An ordinary cat.
An ordinary cat.
How could he be an ordinary cat?
Well, why can he not be? So there's a particular pastime in there. This will be given in different Puranas. Some of them may not be available to us. But basically, there is no restrictions. Here, the material world, there is restriction to form, etc. To, specific form, and we cannot expand ourselves. Yeah. People can have children and expand themselves in that way. But they're not actually expanding themselves actually. So anyway, the point here is that I think, as is said in the Bhagavatam, as many waves as there are in the ocean, that's so many incarnations there are. So now we're learning, okay, there's many different incarnations, but those incarnations have many different forms of themselves. Yeah. That's why also sometimes you may come across different descriptions of pastimes. Yeah, like that's one Lord Rahadev. That's at least that one's mentioned. There's different Rahadevs and two different Leelas that's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But also the same with other incarnations that we're hearing. And so it's unlimited. And the Lord appears. So because there's unlimited, well, the Vaikunthas are unlimited. At least from our perspective, and our perspective only, the material universes have unlimited, there's unlimited universes and unlimited planets within each universe. So it's quite a wonder. Yeah, it's quite a wonder, all the glories of Krishna. And it's not like so we are Monists. We are, so we worship one God. We don't worship many gods. It's confusing for some people because according to here, many gods are being described. Many gods, you worship many gods. But no, there's only one God being described here. That there's only one, but he's taken on different forms. It's not like demigods. They are different forms. They're not just one person being Shiva, one person, that same person is Indra. No, they are distinct personalities. But here in Vishnu Tattva, they're all considered to be one. What did Chaitanya Charan called it? We are monotheistic polyists. Forget, did I pronounce that word? Polyists, excuse me, pronounce it wrong. But it's a word means that those...
Polytheistic.
Huh?
Polytheistic. Polytheistic.
Yeah, that means you worship many gods. So that's what the Muslims, that's a critic of Hinduism. We worship many gods, and also Christians. Yeah. So no, we are monotheistic, how do you pronounce it again? Polytheists. So we worship one. That's the word. So we one God who has many different forms, and it's all the same God. Although he may have many different forms. Yeah. And we cannot possibly describe the detailed science of that. Here Gopi Pranadhan must have done a wonderful study to write this purport. This purport could have taken him months just to look through different Puranas, go through different Sastra and actually explain some of this, different forms of Hamsa, different forms of Yagneshvara, different forms of Vamana, different forms of Nrsimhadev, etc. Yeah. All we can do is do Pranam Mudra and go, Hare Krishna. Krishna's amazing. Any questions about this? Yes. So there's 5 of Rahadevs. All right. Mother Gayatri, are you in a position to read? Are you in a park somewhere?
I am. I
Okay.
can.
Go
Where do I
ahead.
start?
158. I'll bring it up
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Text 158. The differences between them should never be seen as illusory, any more than should the plurality of the conditioned souls. Rather, the differences between the Lord's forms are displays of the energies that underlie his spiritual pastimes. The differences are born of the various moods of his various worshippers. Commentary. Someone might argue that only by illusion can a single being appear as many, but the verse at hand explains the truth. As we know from the teachings of Vedanta, the Jiva souls are real, and they are factually distinct from the Supreme Soul and from one another. The differences between the individual Jivas and the Paramatma, and the differences among the Jivas themselves, are not illusions created by Maya, nor does one Jiva appear divided into many souls simply by false designations, nor does the one supreme truth reflect itself into many small images. Jivas who have no real existence of their own. The Jivas are real and their differences are real. In the same way, all the forms of Godhead are real manifestations of his pure spiritual essence, displayed by his personal energies. The personality of Godhead is a vast ocean of many different moods of loving exchange. His various devotees respond to his various pastimes by developing individual varieties of ecstasy, and the Lord reciprocates with these ecstasies by showing himself in different ways. His devotees are concerned with him alone, and therefore, whenever a devotee becomes extremely anxious to see him in a particular form, the Lord at once shows that form to the devotee. These appearances of the Lord, although apparently ad hoc, what does that mean? No idea.
That means not planned out. It means kind of no structure. It means kind of, as far as I understand, it's ad hoc.
spontaneous.
Things like anything could happen.
Are in fact, thank you, are in fact eternal, real, and all-pervading. By displaying his pastime incarnations, the Supreme Lord fulfills the hankerings in the hearts of all pure devotees. Were he to fail to do so, his most significant glory, unlimited kindness to his surrendered servants, would be lost. If any form in which the Lord appears were to prove non-eternal, unreal, or less than all-pervading, the devotees worshipping that form would be disappointed, and great harm would come to their spiritual lives. Therefore, none of the Lord's incarnations allow themselves to be affected by the illusory influence of Maya. Should I continue?
Okay. Yeah, so just 1 minute. So there is some limitations in this, because basically what's being described is that the Lord takes on a form according to the devotion of his devotee. Like, I'm just remembering there's that pastiming connection with Snan Yatra. Do you know we have the Vaishyas, Ganesh Vaishya? And there's a pastime with that, apparently, where one devotee of Ganesh, he was persuaded to and encouraged to go to Puri to take darshan of Lord Jagannath. Yeah. But his Ishtadev was, I get this right, Ganesh, yeah, was Ganesh. So when he took darshan, the Lord transformed himself into Ganesh. And that's where we have apparently why we celebrate that particular Vaishya, that particular form of Lord Jagannath. So there's an example, but it has its limits. It's not as if you can just speculate. Okay, so I'm going to be devoted to a lamppost, and God's going to appear in the form of a worshipful lamppost. No, these forms, these are all forms which have their specific pastimes written in Puranas and written in the scriptures. So it's not literally like anything you imagine. Although there is unlimited different incarnations of the Lord, his incarnations are not subject to our speculation. They are specific forms of the Lord who are worshipped by devotees. Yeah. So there's many, as it said, ad hoc, so many different forms of the Lord. They are all specific manifestations. It's not just you cannot just speculate. That's called idol worship, where you worship, and you worship, what they call it, where there's a critic that where people worship forms of the gods born of their speculative mind. Yeah, that's called idol worship. So so we're against idol worship as well. Yeah, the devotees worship bona fide forms of the Lord, which is verified by saints and in scriptures, etc. Right? Any other questions or comments on this? Quite technical, but quite interesting at the same time. All right, you can read on, Baba Gayatri.
Text 159. Therefore, this variety does not arise from the difference between an object and its reflected image, as with the sun reflected in water. Rather, the Lord's forms are like the one sun standing undivided in the sky, seen everywhere, but in different ways in different places. Commentary. The variety of the Supreme Lord's appearances cannot be understood by the logic of an object and its reflection, because every one of the Lord's forms is eternal and real. In the object reflected model, the only object that would be eternal and real would be the original, the avatari, the form of the Lord from which all his other forms expand. All the other forms of the Lord would be temporary and unreal, like mere reflections. In effect, the expanded personal forms of the Lord would be products of illusion. The theory of expanding by reflection, therefore, is untenable. The Supreme Person in all his forms is the same original object, complete in eternity, knowledge, and bliss. The sun may be reflected in various bodies of water, or any object may be reflected in several mirrors. The one then appears to be many because of its images in various places, but the variety among the Supreme Lord's forms is not like that. For the variety shown by the Lord, the more fitting analogy cited here is that of one object, the sun, being viewed differently by people in different places. Each person, from where he stands, sees the sun appearing differently against the backdrop of nearby objects, trees, hills, and so on. Similarly, the diverse worshippers of the Supreme Lord see him with different forms, complexions, and qualities according to their individual ecstatic moods. One devotee sees the Lord as a brilliant sphere of light, another as having 4 arms and a red complexion, and yet another as having 2 arms holding a pair of lotus flowers. None of these different visions are illusory because they are perceived by pure devotees whom the Lord has no reason to deceive.
Okay.
Should I stop?
Yeah. Just gonna yeah. Let's make sure we understand this. It's quite straightforward in one sense. Yeah, the reflections that we see of a particular item or thing doesn't carry it isn't the original form which it is reflected from. So it's not like that with the different forms of Krishna. They're completely, everything there, it is absolute. So I guess in this sense, perhaps we can appreciate. So what's being said here is that the different forms of the Lord, these different expansions, are not just like shadowy or ephemeral. They are actually the Lord complete as the original expansion. Yeah. But just in the same way, I'm just thinking that the actual holy name of Krishna itself is an actual form, or a very merciful form of Krishna, complete with all the potencies of the actual form of Krishna. But it is Krishna. Krishna, as he is fully manifest in these different expansions of incarnations, etc. He is fully manifest within sound, within the sound of the Mahamantra. Yeah. Any questions on that? Comments? All right. Let's carry on with this technical explanation of the Lord's incarnations. You can carry on, Mother.
Yep. Text 160. The Lord's various forms are one, just as knowledge and happiness, though separate entities, are one because they are both aspects of the same absolute truth. Commentary. Anyone can understand from experience that since knowledge is the cause of happiness, happiness and knowledge are 2 separate entities. This difference is real, not illusory, because both knowledge and happiness are distinct and real aspects of Brahman, the absolute truth. But then again, due to the very fact that knowledge and happiness belongs to the essential nature of the absolute, the 2 are really one. According to the Taittiriya, and other Upanishads, Brahman's identity is knowledge and also happiness. And since Brahman is always one, non-dual, its aspects of knowledge and happiness are also essentially one. Demonstrably, knowledge and happiness are one and different and real because the absolute truth is himself both one and many, and he is real in the variety he exhibits. Thus we read in the Varaha Purana, I'll leave this out, the Supreme has no material form made of flesh, marrow, and bones. He has his form not by virtue of practicing yoga, but because he is the absolute Lord. The personal form of the infallible all-powerful Lord, is real. Another Purana, the Mahabharata Purana, also states,
Wow, a few verses here. Go on.
all the bodies of the Supreme Soul are eternal and unchanging. They never undergo loss or gain, and they are never creations of material nature. In all conditions, they are full of the greatest intense bliss and pure consciousness, endowed with all auspicious qualities and devoid of all faults. The bodies of the Supreme are all free from defects, unsurpassed in excellence, and full in all transcendental qualities. Thus, the Supreme Controller's body and soul are never different from one another. When scripture records that he accepts bodies and maintains them and gives them up, those arrangements are to be understood as casual and external, just like accepting someone's hand in friendship. Saying that he is different from everyone else does not mean that he is nothing but pure consciousness. By consorting with his exclusive potencies, the Supreme Lord transcends material nature, assumes forms like this one, and in various other ways maintains his unique status.
Okay. Dare I ask you any questions? All we could do is but
This is
here.
complex.
Sorry?
This sounds very complex, needs analyzing.
Yeah. But essence, I guess the essence we can take away from it is that the Lord can do anything he wants. He can afford it, and he does. He appears in many different forms, but the Lord is completely present in every expansion. 1 second, someone's coming in a bit late. Okay, you can go, Brigida. Yeah. And also it doesn't, most you might mention, but the Archa Vigraha is a particular form of the Lord that's mentioned in the scriptures. So the deity forms of the Lord, yeah, they are considered to be, in one sense, it's described. Sometimes it's described that the Archa Vigraha forms of the Lord are quite unique in their availability to the devotees. So, for instance, the Lord, when Lord Ram comes, he performs his Leela and performs his pastimes. So he's here for a fantastic amount of time. From our perspective, they are linear. The pastimes are linear. They unfold and then they unmanifest. Yeah, Lord Nrsingadev came, healed Hiranyakasipu, gave mercy to Prahlad, and then became unmanifest. But the Archa Vigraha is there. Often is there, and the devotee can approach that form of the Lord at any time. He's there for hundreds, for thousands of years. So sometimes the Archa Vigraha is described in such a way as a very merciful form of the Lord. Yeah. Normally, for Lord Nrsingadev to appear, if you want to have darshan, then you got to try and line up with birth in a particular Satya Yuga where Hiranyakashipu is going to run amok. So you got to plan it out. Or you become devoted to Lord Nrsinga and you go to that place. But you can always go to the temple and see the beautiful smiling form of the Lord and you can offer your prayers, So that's also an incarnation of the Lord, the Archa Vigraha. And there's an interesting story I can tell in this regard. My Guru Maharaj described this story in a recent reading. I'll try to just finish on this nice story. It's described written in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's described that there are deity forms of the Lord to be discovered all over the world. There's an interesting purport where Prabhupada describes that. I mean, all over the world. So, it so happened that Bhagavatamrta many years ago, they had small Utsav deities of Radha and Krishna. Beautiful deities, which were made of marble. Now that's the thing with marble. You can make beautiful deities of marble, but just one knock and they can break. Yeah. One wrong knock. Yeah. One little chink and they can break. because they're made of marble and it's so small and delicate. So these Utsa forms of the deities made of marble, which on the altar, rather go.
The born manifested.
Yeah. I've got Indian dodgy light connection here. Just turn on the big light 1 second. Okay, so where was I? Let's start. Yeah, so Bhagavatamrta, and this deity kept on getting knocked over and kept on getting broken. And at one time it got knocked over. It wasn't possible to actually replace the deity. It actually got someone from the British Museum to actually come in and see if they could fix it. But it wasn't possible. They said, no, it's not possible. It is too broken. So my Guru Maharaj, he had to take the deity, he took it to, I think in Shastra it said you immerse it in the Ganges, something, yeah. So he did that. And it so happened that somewhere, he didn't mention where, but somewhere in the UK they was doing an excavation of an old house. And they was digging up the grounds. Yeah, this is an old house. And they was digging up the grounds. Hundreds of years old, apparently, or a long time. And guess what they found in the what's it called? In the
Beautiful deity.
foundation. Yeah, they found the deity of Krishna, a small deity of Krishna, exactly the size which was originally there at the manor. This is in the middle of UK. This house going back many before ISKCON, before preaching and before any Krishna bhakti. And they found this deity of Krishna. And my Guru Maharaj came and there's one devotee there. He said, do you think you could use this deity? So my Guru Maharaj said, well, yeah, it's exactly what we're looking for. He said, where did he come from? Oh, well, he came from they was digging up the foundations in a house and they found this deity. So there you go. My Guru Maharaj said, straight out of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the next time you take darshan at Bhagavatamrta, kind of have a look at the small deities of Radha Gokulananda, and the Krishna appeared that way. Very special. Yeah. Right. So before we leave that story, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us. I hope you had a wonderful day. Oh, you're having a wonderful day today. The appearance of Advaita Acharya. We're celebrating tomorrow the appearance of Advaita Acharya. So I hope the rest of the day goes well. So thank you for joining us. Mother Gayatri's raised her hand. Is that a question or an announcement?
Just a quick question. A quick question.
please.
If the Krishna deity was released into Ganges and Radharani was left alone, that's the practice? You can just do that?
Well, then they replaced Krishna. Yeah, then they replaced Krishna. Because Radharani wasn't broken, apparently. I those details I don't know, but
so they don't go together. You don't bury them together.
Seems not. You just
keep the
find
one.
it seems you just find another replacement of Krishna.
No, because usually you call Krishna to come. It's not like a Saligram or Giriraj.
Yeah.
So then you need to call to the Pratishta, isn't it? To call the deity to come. So then she's not by herself.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the whole topic. That's called Pranapratishtha. But this time the Lord came in someone's back garden somewhere in England.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So think of that next time you take darshan at the manor and like that. Okay, thank you everyone. So yeah, next Monday, I'll be en route to Vrindavan, so definitely won't be able to have a reading on Monday, perhaps on Wednesday. We'll see what the scene is here. But
are you coming back any soon, Murli Prabhu?
Coming back to UK, yes.
Yes? Yes?
Yeah.
When?
On the 4th of March. So I'll be
Oh,
back.
I see, I see. Would you be able to bring any Mahaprasad, please?
Yeah, I can bring some. No
Please, I
doubt.
will come
Yeah.
on I will come on Nityananda Trayodasi. I will be in London. I will stay 2 days.
I shall be in Vrindavan for Nityananda Trayodasi.
Yeah? Okay, we'll
Yeah.
see you in March. Please, please, please. I will be
Yeah.
so grateful. Just a little bit, a crumb.
No problem. Okay, everyone. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us for
Hari
this
Bol, Hare
detailed,
Krishna.
fascinating discussion. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare
His Grace
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Mahaprabhu
Ram,
ki
Ram,
jai.
Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Vaitacharya ki jai.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.